And lastly, let's take a look at a couple of the last statements. These really don't require much work. We got a couple of things to do on the balance sheet, but other than that, really what you need to do, and I think a lot of people skip over this part and they end up sending out some feedback that says, wait a minute, you're losing a ton of money, or maybe even that I think your estimate is a little bit or way too high. If it's a little bit too high, I probably won't complain, but I'll get somewhere, they're estimating that they're going to lose $200,000. That's probably not practical, or that maybe they're going to make $2 million. Again, probably not practical, especially given the types of businesses that you guys have selected. Is it unusual to show a loss in the first year that's a small loss? Not at all. So if you come down here, again, I'm on the income statement first year. If you come down here, bottom right-hand corner, net profit or loss. Nothing for you to change on here. It's all white cells, so please don't change any of the stuff on here. But take a look at that. Again, if it looks way out of whack, we might have to go back and make some revisions on the sales forecast, or maybe lower our expenses, be it payroll or be it operating expenses. Okay, or if we're paying ourselves too much on the although that wouldn't show up here. I'm sorry, I was going to say if you're paying too much on the cash flow, but the cash flow won't show up on the net income. So let me take that back. Delete that from the testimony or whatever the judge says. Okay. Do the same thing for years 2 and 3. Here's year 1, okay, recapped, but here's years 2 and 3. We'd like to see a little bit of growth, okay, in income, at least make our projections that. So take a look, and hopefully that's the case. If it's going down, we might want to go back and take a look. Maybe we could change our growth forecast on the sales forecast a little bit, or do something, like that, okay? But normally, we'd like to see a little bit of growth. If we're losing a little bit of money in the first year, but we're making a little bit of money in the second year and a little more in the third year, that's fine. If we're making money in the first year and more in the second, more in the third, that's fine as well, okay? Might even be breaking even on the second year and then finally making money on the third year, okay? Just take a look at it and make sure that it looks kind of reasonable, and if not, go back and make some adjustments, okay? Again, you're preparing this to present to a banker or an investor, right, to get their attention, and you got to have some reasonable numbers here. I mean, bottom line is probably the first thing that a banker or an investor is going to take a look at. Then lastly, our balance sheet. Okay, when you get here, these two should say not balanced. Okay, it should say that you're off a little bit, and where you're going to be off is right here. The prepaid expenses in year 2 and year 3, and maybe for some of you it might be other initial costs in year 2 and year 3. If you look at whatever those two totals are, and you look at how far you're off, okay, it should be the same. And what's happened there is simply this. When I asked you to change that amortization period from 3 years to 1 year, this particular sheet doesn't know that, and so it's still assuming that it's 3 years, and so then there may be numbers in here, probably for sure in the prepaid expenses. For some of you, again, it might also be in the other initial costs. So all you have to do is, highlight those cells and hit the delete button. Okay, I might have to go in and unprotected then too, right? Which is hit the review and the unprotect and the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then away we go. So again, just hit your delete on those 4 cells, and then go down, and you should be balanced. Okay. Take a look. All this should be done for you, but I think you ought to wander through this. When you do your financial narrative, I love to know break-even points. Okay. When I was a banker and I got lots of requests in for new businesses and whatnot, business plans that would come in, and oftentimes they were pie in the sky. Geez, they're projecting $1 million in sales, and they're going to make $500,000, and life's going to be good, and they're going to buy a Ferrari, and on and on. And those numbers usually didn't make a lot of sense to me. But if there was a break-even point that said, if I, at least if I make or sell $200,000 worth of widgets, I can break even, not lose money. That number might make a little bit more sense. I might be able to look at that. So I like break-even points. So when you finish that, your balance sheet's balanced, all those other things, come and take a look at some of these too, your financial ratios. Okay, should have had these in financial management a little bit. We probably talked about some of these for sure. Okay, where they're at, how they look, just take a look at them if you like. It does say industry norms. You can look up some of those things if you want. You can probably find some of those. Some of the diagnostic tools, probably not a ton of stuff here that we're going to use in our financial analysis. I should have pointed this out probably, and I apologize, I should have pointed this out probably for some of you. If you're going to be doing manufacturing, this is a little tool that you could use for analyzing and coming up with the cost of goods sold. I don't know if there's many or any of you that actually chose that type of a business. So maybe it's a good thing I didn't go through it. If you have such a thing, and you want to use this, and you got some problems with it, let me know and we can do that. This is the amortization and depreciation schedule. You can come have a look at this. I don't know that it's a huge deal, but feel free to come and have a look at it. Actually, there's a mistake on it. I found I was looking at somebody's submission here just the other day, and I found they had an error. They've actually revised this form and updated it, and they've taken that error out. I need to get the more updated form. Actually, I've downloaded it now. That's what I'm looking at here, but I need to get that posted so that you guys or future classes possibly would use the updated form. These are just some revision notes, etc., so no big deal there. But take a look at these anyhow. You're going to develop a little more understanding probably when you look through those things as to what goes on, why we do some of these, and some of this will be useful when you do your financial narrative after we finish the financials themselves. That should do it. Thanks.